So before we start, I loved your video that you did yesterday, where you were talking about the events that 𝐷𝐸𝐻 and -48 separate events have got coming up in November. And, you know, they're saying lots of sort of disclosures and things coming up. So everyone needs to, if you haven't already watched it, go and watch that video because it's packed full of information. But as we know, it raises a lot of controversy. Should we have another look at 𝐷𝐸𝐻 and -48 and see what the cards have to say about them?
Yeah, there's so much people calling out, especially Juanos. Well, I think both of them, they're calling them shysters, and oh my goodness, there's so much dissension in the truther community, sort of the original people that have been there for a really long time. And I know -48 is fairly new on the scene, but a lot of people think really highly of him. But then there's a whole other camp that says he's a total fraud, and people are constantly emailing me, oh, I live right next door to him, the guy's a loser, you know, blah blah blah. Yeah, so it's very interesting. But then other people say, well, they just use the identities of these people, like that apparently that guy that they say Juano Savin is actually just an identity he might use or go under, like who, we don't know, right? But every time I've done readings on either of them, I always got they were close to the inner circle. So somehow they're placed there, whether there's some of it's disinformation or some of it, because we know both sides do disinformation.
Yeah.
Okay. And we really hope they're telling truth, but they've, you know, a lot of things have disappointed people in the past, but they've also brought a whole lot of things that are happening. And then we do need to recognize that things happen and you don't see them per se.
Absolutely.
Okay, but you can definitely see, okay, and I just want to remind everybody, I get so many people going, there's nothing going on. It's like, are you kidding? The mainstream media is falling apart in front of our eyes. Nobody's watching it anymore, right? It's got, their views are way down. They had a moment not too long ago, a couple of days ago, Cliff High talks about it like a disaster, where they were literally just, they've been backpedaling ever since. Like it, all of that is coming to fruition. Okay, that all of the things in the background, it's so obvious that Mr. B truly doesn't have any keys to anything. Somebody, I think, I can't remember her name, but she's gone to the White House every single day for a year, I think.
Wow. Okay,
for a very long time, months. And she's been photographing and or taking video footage of what's going on, and there's only military in there. Mr. T shows up sometimes, like she's been documenting this. And it's really obvious that, you know, things are happening in the background. So I do want to remind people to pay attention and go looking for yourself. Don't expect Catherine to have all the answers, me to have all the, everyone's bringing our little bit that we get. But we absolutely don't have all the answers. There's way more to it, but you got to do your research. The whole idea is that we research, and I believe we learn not to be fearful. I believe fear is the fuel of the deep state dark cult, and we can't give them any more of our fear. Yes, there's tyrant leaders. I believe they're pushing the agenda double hard because they're puppeted by the good guys. So whether you believe that or not, it's beside the point. Fear is definitely not going to help you. Okay, standing up in the little tiny way you can. And don't be afraid to lose your job or your, because guess what? If in fact what is presented is true, you lose it anyway, it looks like. Because your health would deteriorate if what we know about that, you know what, is true. You know what I mean? Like what you're going to play Russian roulette with your health? You wouldn't be able to support your family anyway. The universe, we're going to have to depend on the universe to provide for us if we do the right thing. And that sounds like a hard call, but your options are pretty limited at this point. Your other option is go along with tyranny and become completely enslaved and possibly lose your life or health. Okay. I don't know, man. I'm thinking I'm going to go with losing my job temporarily and go with the big picture.
I love that. And I also would like to I think it's really important at the moment that if people are faced with those sort of decisions, that they're not afraid to ask for help. So the other one of your videos I particularly loved this week was when you were out at your relative's farm and you were showing that and you were saying, come on guys, support him. And this is what's so important. So I, for one, am really happy to support in any way I can people that are standing up for their rights and saying no. And if they're going to lose their jobs and things like that, you know, whatever way I can help and other people can help. So I would say don't be afraid to ask for help as well, because we all know that what goes around comes around and people get it back. So I think it's really important that people you know, there's a lot of good people out there that will help. I've seen some really good examples over the last sort of few months where people have really stepped up to the mark and helped people in a tough situation. And, you know, I know that that karma will come back to them tenfold because of what they've done.
By the way, that fellow used to be, he's an engineer and he used to own an oil business in Calgary. And when all of that crashed, because of they've been trying to take that out for a long time, especially in Alberta. When all of that went sour, he went back to the land and went back to what he really always wanted to do, which is farm. Okay, sometimes things that appear to be taking your livelihood away could actually hand you a new one. Every time I've ever thought everything's being taken away from me right now, when I learn to trust, face it and go, okay, but my integrity means more than hanging on to something that's obviously going away. Okay, you got to let that go and open your eyes to the new door opening. I know that sounds like a corny saying, but it's real. My whole life's been just this door closes, some window opens up over here. I've trusted. The more I learn to trust in the greater universal, I'm not trusting in Trump. I'm not trusting in somebody to save me, not even for a second, although it would be nice if they were doing the things we get that they're doing in the background. That'd be awesome. But in the meantime, my life's improved because I just keep trusting. Where is the universe putting me now? Okay, it's taking me away from here. It's putting me over here. You need to trust that, your inner knowing. That's what you got to trust.
Yeah, such fun. Yeah. Right, let's have a look at Johannes Saffin first, because personally, I really like listening to him. So I'm going to be intrigued to see if this still shows a good. That's lovely wine. Thank you, ladies.
Oh, you're making me want some wine now, and it's.
I know. I'm really sorry.
A.m. here.
It's a bit mean, but we can see it's dark outside. So when it's dark outside, I'm allowed my wine.
Well, 107 is definitely information, and he's tricky. He brings information, but it's really tricky. So his coding and his information is extremely tricky. He was absolutely placed where he was put. Okay, so he's been placed there by powers that be. And I said, well, what is his intention towards deep state dark cult? Well, this could be really angry, but it could also be really for, okay? And we've got the Wheel of Fortune. So I feel like he's destined to absolutely be in the fight. Okay. So the next question we're going to ask, because this could be, he's very passionate about the deep state. Okay. Certainly doesn't look like he's for them that we can see. But if he's giving tricky information, okay, let's have a look at how does he feel about the dark players. Is he aligned with them and just placed by them? Or is he actually a good guy? Okay, let's have a look. So now we're looking at his relationship with, so we're going to get him and the relationship he has with the dark. So we'll go him and the dark players, and then the in-between card's going to be the relationship that they have. Interesting. He's the 9 of Cups. So the 9 of Cups. So he has a wish and a desire towards them. Okay, a wish and a desire. This is them. Okay, so they've definitely come at him and maybe even offered him money. So that's interesting. And we've got this between them. So we've got the 6 of Pentacles. So this is really interesting. It looks like he started out really independent. He's been offered money by the dark hats to be on their side. So that's interesting. It looks like he refused it because that's the outcome of what happened. So this is really interesting. He's let that go. He's gone on to a higher purpose. So he's gone away from the dark hats. And this is information. He's given lots of information. This is around this. She can be about the tribunals. She can be about calling justice. She can, or he is going to in the future give information on the dark hats. So I got a feeling he might have did a stint where he was working both sides. That's what this is feeling like. And he got close to some dark hats and is bringing information in the future because of that, whatever op he was on. So they called him in, offered him something. That's how close to the line he's working. But it looks like he's actually going to be part of the tribunals with information because of that situation. So I don't get he's a dark hat. I get he's been a gray hat. So he's probably he's been a double agent in some ways, but I feel like he's ultimately with the good guys, but he's played the dark hats. Wow. I think Mr. T's like that too. Don't forget. Yeah. People are always sending me videos. Oh yeah, he's known all of these guys. He's made the
same here. Yeah.
Yeah, he has for sure. We looked into it, and even if some family members of his are definitely cabal families, blah, blah. But guess what? He made his choice ultimately to go with the good of humanity. And he could have been playing him. You know, he could have been placed there. So this is what actually it looks like Juan is. Juan plays a dangerous game here. So that's why I always get him so high up. He's, maybe playing really close to the edge to bring these guys down, because it's definitely his desire. He's very motivated to get these guys. And that sort of explains why that ace towards them. An ace of wands can be passionate, but it doesn't have to be I'm passionately crazy about them. It could be I'm passionately against them. Yeah. So I'm thinking the guy plays a fine line, and he's a tricky player with a really big placement. He was put on the scene to look a certain way, and he's playing those bad guys. That's what I get.
Yeah. Oh, how exciting. So let's have negative 48.
Now it's interesting because people might know this already, but negative 48 and 107 were on a video once, not that long ago. I don't know if it was a Charlie Ward or what video, but they were both for a minute. You know how Juan always shows his feet in the hotel room or whatever, wherever he is? Okay, and the other guy, negative 48, also for a minute, and he never usually shows anything, but the camera was on. And you can be sure they did this on purpose, by the way. They don't do anything that isn't on purpose. And furthermore, it could have been edited out if they didn't want it in there, right? Yeah. So just remember that. Okay, so just for a second, they showed the hotel room. It would look like the very same hotel room as 107 on the other side of the room, maybe. Same view from a different angle. What's that about? They were sitting in the same room, you guys, or they were in the same hotel with a similar room. So that then the outside view was exactly the same. Come on.
Oh, wow.
Those two are really close. Okay. Yeah. So interesting. And a lot of people have all of this stuff on 107. I think it's because he was playing the dark side.
Yeah.
And for it to even come up in the cards now, I guess he's safe now. He's right. And that maybe that's why a whole bunch of them are calling him out like a big fraudster really publicly. Yeah. I got a feeling this is all part of the movie, you guys. You got to know this is big chess. Okay. This is big chess. Okay. So let's look at -48. Okay. -48 is a good guy. Yeah, he's authentic. Okay, that's him. Here's the bad guys around him. So him and the bad guy, him, truth and integrity, bad guys. Okay, they hate him. He's really hard on them. He brings it. So he pushes their buttons. They want him. They want him bad. No wonder he just shows that -48 and maybe goes under the guise of somebody everybody knows. But maybe that person he's under the guise of, that people write me and say, oh, that's my neighbor. The guy's a loser. Okay, guess what? Maybe they made a deal with those guys to let him pretend he's that guy. Don't forget. Why would they put... Like, people are a little naive about these things. If they're playing this kind of chess, there's no way you really have seen them.
Exactly.
There's no way. Give me a break.
Yeah.
Okay. There's no way. This guy's a good guy and he's bringing it big time on the bad guys. Okay. Yeah. And he came in late in the game on purpose to really push it. So they were here, the bad guys, but he's brought so much that they're going down. He's a big push for them all going down. And of course, our intentions are a big push, and what we're doing, what all the audience is doing, we're all doing it. I'm not saying -48's a big hero, but he's definitely a big player in this, which is always what I get about him. Yeah, there's way more he's bringing. So he's bringing way more. So even if they're putting these dates out and they don't come to be, it's part of the chess game. They might even be entrapping some bad guys. I've heard all kinds of rumors about that Vegas thing could just be a big trap, and that patriots should probably not go to that thing. Okay, like, it's all part of the movie. Okay,
well, it's real consideration, because if people are thinking of going like that, anything that's that well publicized for that cause, people do need to really tune in with themselves and decide whether they feel it's right for them to go or not, because obviously it comes with certain benefits and certain risks. So yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay, fantastic.
Wow.
So next question is, when's the alien invasion coming? We were promised an alien invasion.
Funny.
It is funny. It's funny that so many people want it now. It just says a lot about where we're at, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was more like one of the potentials, not a promise.
Yeah.
Right? Just remember, we said, okay, there's this, and this about 3-4 months ago. There's all of these things that could be a big false flag. Now, the fact that all got out there and a whole bunch of people were talking about these F and the flappy things, I guess I shouldn't have said that word. Guy says, if you just say it once in the video and not 4 times, you're good. But anyway, so the fact that they threw it out there and it got really widespread and everybody's talking about now they want it, that could be good, because it could mean they had to step away from that because everybody's on to their shenanigans.
Yeah. Okay, and the last thing they want to do, there's no point them doing it if it's not going to bring fear. But of course,
exactly, the whole idea is fear. All of these guys' big agendas have been outed. Outed. They're being outed. All the politicians are outing their 10-year plan. They had everything they're doing now in a few weeks or months. They had it planned over 10 years because they knew it would just cause, nobody was going to go along with it if they just spilt it all like they are. So that's how you can tell it's part of the movie. They're doing 10 years worth of planning. These guys do things over years, and they're happy to wait years and years to do it. They've been at this for thousands of years. poisoning our food slowly, infiltrating every aspect of our upper echelons of society and cultures. Okay, that took thousands of years. They had to work really hard, bribing and getting things on everybody, placing their people, making sure all the really upper universities are completely controlled by the deep state, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that took thousands of years. Okay, so taking them down's taken some time. Yes. But I'm thinking we're doing fantastic. I'm thinking, let's think about that. Let's think about everything. We know so much now, and that's their worst nightmare, is that we know stuff. So even the invasion, I feel like they'll only do it. It was one of the ideas, but it isn't safe maybe anymore. They're taking a safe perspective. They're looking at it as a potential, but not if it isn't going to be safe. So if it just outs them more, they're not going to do it. Yeah, I think we're going to be disappointed because they don't even have the wherewithal or resources to pull off a big alien invasion. I think it's been stepped back because they all got outed and a whole bunch of them are sitting in the spa.
Yeah.
We'll just say it like that.
I needn't have stocked up on all that alien food then, need I? I have to give it to the foxes. Right, okay.
Yeah.
No more stocking up on alien food, people.
Yeah.
So the next question is from a lovely lady called Marianne, and she's asked a few times, so I need to ask this time. Could you have a look for Marianne and everyone else in the Netherlands about what state of play they're at in the Netherlands? Because they've got Gene Decode's done a lot of things about the underground dams there. So can we see where the Netherlands is at the moment, please?
Okay, so the Netherlands government has capitulated. That's my backdoor deals. Okay, so everything you're watching there is just an example of what was planned. So if there's a bunch of stuff going on you don't like, don't forget that's what's going on. It was a really big hub for trafficking and party substance creating. Huge. Yeah, it's been largely stepped back. It's on a safe platform now, so people are a lot safer there now. But of course, if this was all going on, your kids and population that was getting snatched, you're not safe when there's that kind of activity going on right under your feet, right? Okay, so we've got the 5 of, so it's going to be very disappointing to the dark players how much they've infiltrated, but there's still, because the 5s there's still a bunch of stuff to do, and there's cleanup. 5s can be about cleanup and can be about now there's still some hiccups, right? So there's probably still some little pockets of activity because apparently there's so many layers to these tunnelings. Like you can go down layers and layers, and then there's another couple of layers, right? So it's like Gene Decode talks about that. So, but it looks largely stepped back for sure. So your government's capitulated. That's good news. They're being puppeted. So whatever you're seeing is they were made to do. They were made to do it. They have to show their hand just like everybody else. So I'm not sure what's going on in the Netherlands. I haven't kept up to it.
No,
but yeah, everything's going to be stepped away from really soon here with this card. So everybody's going to, so if they haven't already stepped away from the demic and the plan of it, okay, yeah, they're going to.
Yeah.
Okay, just like everybody else, this stuff has to get stepped away from it. That's why patience, bide time, try not to quit. If you're being forced to do something, and there's all kinds of things online that you can look up yourself, that all kinds of good truthers are talking about. So much information. We can't all say all of it, but there's all kinds of ways that you can download certain papers for certain countries. There's all kinds of groups on Facebook working with, here's what you do if you're faced with this and you're in a government position. So go looking, don't just feel like a sitting duck in your situation. Okay, because a lot of them, when they all banded together and stepped away, like in Southwest Airlines, okay, they backed up they're backtracking. They're backtracking because their whole airlines went down because everybody walked off the job. So guess what? They either don't have an airline anymore. Okay, so that's a good thing, because if they're foolish enough to actually mandate something against the law to their entire population, then they're idiots, and you don't want to work for people like that.
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
And they're actually backtracking now. We need to stop working for people that are connected to the deep state or compliant with them. So if you lose your job in these times, or you have to take your kid out of school, that's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Do you get it? If you're losing your medical position, guess what? The whole medical system has been shown to be literally the enemy. Okay. So even if you weren't bad in it, and there's a few good ones, okay, the whole upper management of it all over the world, it looks like, pretty much from what I can see, is absolutely bought out. Okay. Do you want to work for that? Stop working for bought out companies. Okay. Don't cry about, I'm going to lose my job at a bought out. I'm sorry, but every single time I was faced with a situation where I had all kinds of opportunities to work in a sort of a normal industries. I've got sales. People always see that I could be a great salesman. I was once offered this amazing position in the 𝐷𝐸𝐽. Okay. And it was all about bringing some kind, I think it might've been 5G to 𝐷𝐸𝐽 actually, and making it sound like a good thing, but I can't remember. And I remember pulling some cards on it. It sounded like a great opportunity. I was a struggling single mom just doing readings. Sometimes I'd get 5 readings. It's a small island, and I'd be starved that week.
Yeah.
Like we'd eaten porridge and every day for lunch, you know what I mean? And you know what, but I was living a great life, by the way, because it's beautiful nature, and I had so many great friends. So it was beautiful, but this was an opportunity that I could have really got financially a lot more stable. And I remember pulling some cards. This lady really did this sell job on me. So I pulled the cards, and you know what card came up? And this was years ago, the devil. The devil. And I said, wow, it's very tempting. The devil's very tempting, but absolutely a sellout. So I was like, no way. I'm going to sell out if I do this. Somehow it's bad for the community, and I'll be the one pushing it on this beautiful community. No way do I want to do that. So I said no, and carried on building my clientele. Guess what? So happy I did that.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. And I know personally some really ethical companies, and they are definitely out there. So that's really great. So the next question is about the UK. Now we're having bloody politicians. They are now really pushing to say that we're going to be going down into another lockdown, possibly, and that they're going to reintroduce mask wearing, working from home, and bans from indoor gatherings. Now, they haven't done it yet, but they've really started pushing that this week. They also had a parliamentary debate, and they passed the COVID Act illegally, because they didn't have enough politicians there to vote, and yet they put it through. So now they're allowed to do those restrictions for another 6 months. So they're just completely bypassing all the rules and regulations.
All of it's part of the movie. None of it stands. It's all illegal. Everything they're doing all over the world's illegal. Okay. What they're doing here in Canada, it's all illegal. Okay. So first order of business, get as many people on board with huge lawsuits. Do you know how many lawsuits are coming down on the school boards for what they're doing? Even making the, mandatory for little children and children, anybody actually wearing them, even their staff. It's dangerous for your health, by the way. And absolutely, there's no proof. They haven't even isolated what they call, the illness. They haven't even isolated it. Make them isolate it before any of this is legal. None of it's legal, you guys. Absolutely. Okay, so don't fear, because they're trying to drum up fear. This is what they do. They let you have a few 3 weeks of you don't have to wear the what, and you guys had more relaxed things. Remember, you were saying that last week. Guess what? Then they that's what they did to Alberta, and then they clamp down double hard and pull this. So it's just a way to get you comfortable. It's all part of the plan to wake people up. I'm telling you.
And also, people have a really close look into it. Now, I haven't looked into it closely. I will hold my hands up and say I haven't. And the reason I haven't is because I'm just not engaging in any of it. So I've ignored all the rules the whole way through. So quite frankly, unless someone tells me what the rules are, I haven't got a clue because I've just ignored them the whole way through. But I don't think what they're doing, I don't think they're discriminating in these new lockdowns between and non-. In which case, what a bloody joke. What a complete joke. Yep. So the thing is, I don't know, people might correct me and say I'm wrong and say that they're only going to knock down the blah, blah, blah. But I would just be very cautious of that and have a look, because those are the type of things we want to be pointing out to people if their rules are coming in aren't even discriminating. Because, you know, if you're going to be treated the same, what's the point? So the next question, news, lots of people have been saying that apparently Bitcoin has soared to an all-time high of over $65,000. So can we ask the cards what they want us to know about that? I'm hopeless. I know nothing about all this stuff, although my friend Andy keeps trying to get me involved, but I haven't got enough time.
We're asking about Bitcoin.
It's specifically Bitcoin. So it's big news at the moment that it's soared to this all-time high. And so many controversies between Bitcoin. I know nothing about it. But what is the significance of this? And is it good, bad?
Interesting. Wow. Okay, I've looked at Bitcoin a lot, and it always looked like it was going to get taken out. Okay, this is the first time it looks like, and I always thought it was because it was connected to the dark, and I'm getting that, but that it flips over. I wonder if it gets taken out of the hands of the deep state and turns into something good, because this is a rebirth card. So these two cards came up around it. So something's dying around its association with the dark side. Something's dying and it's coming into a victory and rebirthing itself. So I think new people are in charge of it, if that makes any sense. And so if anybody knows anything about that background stuff, because Catherine and I, we don't really, and it may actually create, well, it looks like it will, really, really strong and keep going forward and be one of those. I always get there's going to be some, but they have to not be connected to deep state to go forward with the new banking, new way of doing things. And I really feel like they might have wrestled it out of the hands of the bad guys here, because it gains in strength over time. So it feels like it'll hold its strength, but it looked really bad there in the summer. It was looking like they were trying to take it out. And but then it started looking like it was a bit of a wrestle, because it was it needed to clean up its act in the background. That's what I started seeing. And now it looks like it got out of the dark cult's hands and into, so that means one more of their money laundering tools or whatever is gone. That's good news for taking those guys down. But anyway, it looks like it's could hold its value and actually stick around, which is like a total 180 actually.
Yeah, amazing. And that's why you have to keep asking these questions, because, you know, things are changing all the time. And, you know, one action has a knock-on effect to others. So on a similar sort of note, there was a really weird, I need to read this because I'll get it wrong. Okay, so we had an announcement by one of our ministers, one of our politicians, that the G7, so the G7 is these 7 nations that are meant to be the most advanced economies. So we had an announcement this week from one of our politicians that the G7 nations, under the leadership of the UK, are introducing a central bank digital currency. And this digital currency would be run under the central banks, which gave immediate alarm bells to me. And it would run alongside cash for the time being. So could we ask the cards, what is that about? Is that the good or the bad? Because the terminology didn't sound good at all to me, or the fact that it was associated with the G7.
Okay, so it looks like it's for the good of humanity.
Wow.
So it could be signaling or hidden language for a new system running alongside the old system. Because don't forget, so that's in the middle. I think the old system's crashing. So I believe that's signaling, and it's signaling from my good guys. These are my good guy cards. So it's signaling from the good guys because it's been, obviously the G7 is, I believe, a big facade. Remember, you know, when you guys had it over there, a couple of months ago or something, and every one of those photographs looked totally photoshopped.
Yeah.
They put them up in the air, and yeah, it was weird. We saw a whole bunch of weird things going on, and they could have just had a few instances of Mr. B, a fake Mr. B and his wife, doing some film footage with some other people supposedly, but a whole bunch of the stuff looked really fraudulent, the pictures that came out of there, and really suspicious. So did it even really happen?
I'm so hoping that when we get the takeover of the media, I'm so hoping that the day it happens, they'll actually report the news if it's real, but they'll use the spitting image puppets, because that's what it's like. And wouldn't it be amazing if that was the lead into them saying it's all been a Muppet show?
As you were saying, spitting image, this card jumped out. I got a feeling Mr. T and the White Hats got something big to do with that show.
I love it. It's just the best.
By the way, something really interesting somebody sent me. It was an advertisement for Masterpiece Theater, and it was saying I can't remember how it went, but it was basically somebody had got it in their inbox, and they were a Masterpiece Theater subscriber, and it was saying something about all these new things they were doing with Masterpiece Theater, and the end sort of sentence was, "The best is yet to come." The best is yet, but there was a bunch of suspicious signaling language in it, and explaining, well, you're going to see this, it'll seem different, here's what's going on. In other words, I think it's been taken over by the White Hats.
Wow. Oh my God.
Yeah. Masterpiece Theater.
Wow.
Okay, that sounds like the government in the UK capitulated, you guys. Yeah, it's all signaling that. That's what I know. It sounds crazy, but guess what? The whole world's crazy right now, and we're just trying to make sense of it. And I'm telling you, going on.
We've really had enough. So another question linked on that, because I think it's on everyone's mind. So with the financial system, because we've got the dark financial system, which is going over to the digital currency, which is controlling us all through our chips. And then we've got the good financial system, which is still digital currency, but not controlling us all through the chips. Now, with things like this recent announcement, it's so confusing. How are we as humanity going to know whether it's the good one that's going ahead and therefore we can rock and roll with it, or we don't want to be tricked into supporting the bad one? So is there any advice the cards can tell us about how will we know whether it's the good one going ahead and not the bad one?
So the good one's already secretly working alongside what used to be known as, the currency, like the money system. So it's already working. 10 and like it kind of just reads like it's a no-brainer. The bad guys are already taken out. You're not going to be offered the bad one. It looks like they've already got these guys. This is a victory over these guys. Yeah. So they've already been victorious over the bad system. So the bad system doesn't even get offered. They showed, because it died. Okay, so it died. So the bad system's been taken out already. So anything that gets offered, maybe part of the movie, it's going to look like you're being offered the bad one, but I get going forward, you're going to only the good ones available.
I hope so.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
We intend and visualize so.
We're going to visualize. We cannot support that bad one. And I don't want to get it wrong.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Just assume you won't. Just assume you'll know. Tell yourself every day, spend a few minutes a day trusting that you're going to know. And that you, there's no way you wouldn't, it's not your intention. So just stay aligned with what are your intentions, because what actually got us into trouble is we were sleeping. We weren't using our intentions. We knew Walmart, we knew McDonald's was bad. We knew these great big, but we were still buying from them because it was easy, put in our face as easy. We knew small businesses were better to support, but we didn't, we were spending a few less dollars over here when we could have supported a family over here. Do you know what I find? Things that I'm buying from small health food stores that are quite expensive, it seems. Okay, first of all, the groceries last longer because they're probably produced better. Okay, because the stuff I go buy, I get more at like Safeway or Co-op or whatever. These are our big grocers. Okay, or Superstore, which I try not to buy any groceries from, let me tell you. But anyway, places like that. So you buy those groceries and they go bad really quickly. People probably notice because they've probably been stored for months, months and months. So if you go to a farmer's market when they're available, you're going to get fresher things from people who grew it. When you buy from a guy like Farmer John, I'm going to fill I got 2 small freezers and they're absolutely full of his stuff. Okay, there's people all over the world doing what he's doing. It's not just him. Okay, people wrote me and said, I got a guy in my hood that does that. So-and-so's got, there's always somebody, there's a Farmer John all over the place, you guys. Go looking for the Farmer Johns, go support them. Go just look for it, do the legwork.
And your cats will thank you.
Be easy, right?
Your cats will thank you as well. So don't feed the cats the pork, but then I can tell you how to feed all that to your cats and they'll be so happy.
Yeah.
Proper food. Oh, it's brilliant. It's lovely that. So that's fantastic. Now, one thing that I thought was really, really odd, Janine, is that I saw today that Moscow has put the seniors on lockdown. So apparently Moscow has told its seniors that they have to stay at home for 4 months starting October the 25th. And this has come from the mayor of the Russian capital, announced today. So anyone who's not and is over 60, what bloody cheek, 60, we're not seniors, has 4 months to stay at home. So what on earth is going on with that?
Okay, this is really weird. It has to do with an operation and they want them to be safe. So this is getting to safe ground because there's a military operation going to be going on. They're just trying to get them out of the way kind of, or in a safe place. Weird, right? Yeah. So yeah, it's so it's a desire to keep them safe. Okay, so I've been hearing, so I'll just say, I wasn't going to bring this up, but I've been hearing that at the end of the month here, this Red October's real, and there's going to be a huge roundup, and they're likely going to call military shutdown on all the countries, and at first it'll feel like the bad one. It's actually the good one. And they're going to lock everybody down. They're going to call military rule everywhere. And then the real people that have been actually puppeting your governments all over the world are going to step forward. And everybody starts getting told on their television networks what's going on. And it's going to be because that might be what they're planning here. That might be what I got that they want everybody locked down for that. So there's all these lockdowns
coming. That would make sense. Yeah.
Just to keep them out of the way while because apparently they're possibly even taking out real cabal centers all at the same time. So you're going to get like they're bombing or they're using those things from outer space. I don't know what they're doing, but they're going to take out all of these places. Now, if that turns out to be true, or are they just trying to scare the deep state by putting that out there? I don't know. Right. But if like that would make sense too. They're planning these lockdowns just until that gets done.
Yeah.
So it may not last 4 months. It may just be, it looks like it's for their good, which seems ludicrous, but that's what I get. There's no nefarious cards here.
Yeah. Okay. They probably want, those are the ones. I just did a video just before I came on with you with this chat that we were talking about how to decalcify the pineal gland and everything. And this is so crucial for all of us, because once you start taking those toxins out of your body, then you do start to see the world in a different way, and you can really tune in with your intuition. Saw you and Jean-Claude and Medina talking about, sort of tuning into your intuition, and it's so important for all of us. And this is why some people can't, because they've got so much toxins blocking all that energetically that they just can't see it. So anything we can do to help that, the better. Oh my goodness. Now this next one's a really very, very sad one. So I think I sent you the details. So in the UK this week, we had a really lovely MP, David Ames, who was murdered. And it's been really odd. He was stabbed to death in front of people in the church, and a very odd situation where the police, a bit like that woman who went missing in America, where they announced about her body. So what was so odd about this? Loads of things. One, absolutely terribly tragic. But secondly, the fact that they released the name of the suspect and everything before he was even arrested or whatever. And that they're sort of pointing towards it being an extremist thing. However, this chap, from what we can see, was a very staunch, very into animal rights, very against the passports, against the lockdowns. It didn't have anything good to say about the pharmaceutical industry, so looked to be a very awakened soul. So what people are wondering is, was he taken out by the dark cats, basically, that this is all a complete cover story, and actually they needed him, the baddies took him out.
Okay, so they want you to think the baddies took him out.
Right.
They want you to think he's definitely a good guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so they want you to think the baddies took him out. He's actually alive, from what I get. So that's like almost a resurrection card. So he could be resurrected after a time. Okay, so yeah, they're trying to make the baddies look bad. They're trying to get everybody to look at the baddies. So this is part of the wake-up call, is taking out people that are for something, and then they go, like, people start putting that together, even real normies are going to start going, you know what I mean? This and this person went down, but they were, it's like what they did with that guy they took out of that prison in Portugal. What was that guy's name?
Oh,
McAfee. I can never say his name. That guy. Okay, this is another one of those, it looks like. They want you to think the bad guys took them out. They want you to notice things like that, because things like that do happen. Like there was a couple, and I hope it's another, false flappy thing in Canada. There was a couple that made that HY product that works really good on the illness.
Yeah.
It's really cheap. Okay. That's been smeared as, a non-issue, but in fact, we know it absolutely could even probably cure the common cold and the flu combined. Now we figured that out going forward. So that's good. Okay. But anyway, a couple that actually had a pharmaceutical company, a smaller one in Canada, who that was their main product that they made. And right at the beginning of this thing, when it was first coming out, that was really good. They got both as a couple taken out.
Oh my God.
Like, I wonder if that was a signal too, but I mean, that's interesting. They owned a pharmaceutical company that was known for producing that.
They weren't the ones that were run over, were they?
I can't remember how they were
Yeah.
taken off the Earth plane, but supposedly. So I'm hoping they're also in that club, that there's a bunch of people going to be stepping out of the shadows.
So hope he is, because it's just absolutely, if he has been taken out, it's just so tragic, because you know he's such a lovely man.
So that sounds like some good acting then. So we got a George Floyd type acting going on. Maybe they did a whole Hollywood production there with. I hope so. I hope that's the case, and that he didn't really get taken out.
I hope that's the case, and if so, I hope that his family get to know that as soon as possible, because they must be torture at the moment, absolutely torture. So
okay. I actually get they might have been told ahead of time what was going to happen.
Oh, I so hope so. Oh, please, because you know, yeah. So I think it really shocked everyone big time. I mean, we've had these sort of things happen before, but you know, it was, yeah, but I think it's been big news, and definitely I've heard people who aren't particularly awake at all on YouTube sort of news channels sort of saying this is really odd. Why are the police releasing all this information about the suspect? It's completely against police policy. So yeah, very, very peculiar. Well, final question is, which one shall I ask? I've got so many on the list. Okay. So in America, the Department of Justice has announced that no senior FBI official involved in the Trump-Russia investigation will be held accountable. And former FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe was unfired from the Department of Justice. So basically, they're saying, you know, that this is a real sort of slap in the face to John Durham, who's issuing all these indictments, to basically say, you know, whatever you do, we've still got control. The dark cats have still got control of the justice system. So can we ask the cards about that? Because I saw that actually on MSN, which was really, oh, did I? Someone sent it to me, actually. I can't remember where I saw it, but it was quite mainstream, that they were basically, the headline was Andrew McCabe's settlement with the Department of Justice is a signal to John Durham.
I don't get it's true.
Good.
Yeah, I don't get it's true. It feels like another fear porn type thing that they want somehow. This is a play for, I don't know who they're trying to play here, but somehow that's a play. It feels like they want to make something look vulnerable, or they want to appear vulnerable. Maybe they want to fool the bad guys that the justice system's still in the hands of. Maybe this is one of those.
Yeah.
Catch them. Yeah, there's way more to this. The cards don't even want to tell us what's going on really, but there's way more to it. So almost everything you're reading on either side lately has been a kind of like fake. Yeah. Sorry. I know it's really hard. So it's like, you just have to stay grounded and trust your own instincts, and don't try to figure everything out. Just look at the big picture. Try to stay trusting in the greater universe knows what it's doing. Not doing nothing though. Your job, everybody's listening's job, is to defend your personal sovereignty. That's always been our job. Your sovereign self, defend that, and family members who are also willing to be sovereign with you. And don't try to force ones that aren't, if they're over 18, you know what I mean? Everyone has to make their own choice, but you can lay it all out for them, but you can't force anybody to do anything. Like, let everybody work their own karma here, and trust that the universe knows what it's doing. What's meant to be will be, as long as you're doing your work, which is staying positive. Don't feed the bad guys fear. You're strong and vigilant in, is that a word? Vigilant, yeah. In your like grounded energy, and don't just freak out at every news story, because trust me, they're probably fake. Okay, like,
yeah, that's such good advice, because everything moving forward is to first move more out of headspace into heart space.
Yeah,
because, you know, we've spent so long trying to intellectually figure things out when
What a place
actually
to be.
we've got to feel into the situation a lot more and trust that feeling, haven't we? So yeah, great.
I like to just check in when I read
Yeah.
something. I check in, and if I get a deep gut response, an intuitive response, or a, you know what I mean? I go, okay, no. But then I've really worked on training myself. So some people might actually get a fear-based response coming from their intellect. They might mistake that for a, so if you feel like you can really tune in intuitively and feel what does your body want to like run and hide, right? Or is that intellectually giving you a gut punch, right? Yeah, but it's hard to know sometimes. It takes practice, but yeah.
Practice makes perfect, and sort of having the support of those around you that are tuned in is really, really important. And if in doubt, ask your cat or dog and they'll always give you the right answer.
Yeah. Have a look at how they're responding.
Yeah, exactly. It's really good. Thank you so much, Janine. That was really, really exciting as always. So